Alright, so continuing my January 2018 plan, since nothing really special comes out in January usually, I'm taking this month to review movies that have sequels coming out this year. So how could I not talk about this movie? The Incredibles. So The Incredibles was written and directed by Brad Bird, who also directed The Iron Giant, my favorite animated movie of all time. It's a Disney Pixar movie, came out in summer 2004, so about 13 and a half years ago. Jeez, time flies. The movie takes place in a world where superheroes are a dime a dozen, really. And there were these glory days where superheroes were just all over the place, saving people. That's where the movie starts out, and you can obviously tell that it's a throwback to the old superhero TV shows of the 60s. You know, like the old cartoons like Spider-Man or Iron Man, you know, those old Marvel ones, or even the live action ones like Green Hornet or Batman. I mean, you can easily tell by the lighting and the set design, everything is like perfectly linear and all the basic colors. It's beautiful to look at, and it is such a throwback. Because those old TV shows are what my dad used to watch. I love listening to him talk about, oh, he used to watch Batman every Saturday morning after the Green Hornet. So I imagine Brad Bird was the same way. He used to watch those old Saturday morning superhero TV shows, and he wanted to make a throwback to those. So it's the glory days of the superheroes, but it doesn't last forever, unfortunately. It falls through, so the movie goes 15 years later. Superheroes are now phased out, and now they're just normal people trying to adapt to normal life. The main character, Bob Parr, voiced by Craig T. Nelson, he was once known as Mr. Incredible. He has settled down and started a family. His wife is Helen Parr, voiced by Holly Hunter, once known as Elastigirl. And they have 3 kids, Violet, Dash, and Jack Jack. They each have different powers. Violet can turn invisible and make force fields. Dash can run really fast. You know, that's his name. And Jack Jack, so far as we know, doesn't have any powers. So now they're just trying to live a normal life as a family. And this is another strong point to the movie. Brad Bird really does such a good job. Because if you just listen to the dialogue between this family, I mean, I don't know about you, but it sounds exactly like my family when I was growing up. You have the older and younger sibling bickering back and forth. You have the parents arguing very loudly. Childhood. It's just realistic. And when you listen, actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Bob and Helen are arguing. They're very loud. Like, you get both sides of the argument. That's what I love about this. Like, their parents, they're arguing about what they should do about Dash and like his gifts. And you listen to both sides, you're like, yeah, they're both right. I mean, I don't know what my parents used to argue about, but I'd like to think they were both right. If I had to pick one word to describe this movie, it wouldn't be superhero, it wouldn't be action or adventure, it would be family. Because family is the main point of the movie. Bob Parr misses those glory days. He wants to be a superhero again because it just makes him feel alive. You know, he's sneaking out with his friend Lucius, aka Frozone, voiced by Samuel L. Jackson. They're doing small deeds here and there. You know, it makes them feel it's like the most thrill they get in their middle-aged crisis. But then one day, Bob Parr gets called with a mission, says, hey, you can be a superhero again, so suit up, come on down here, we'll pay you triple your current annual salary. So he goes down there, he does his mission, and this is where you see that the movie is not only a throwback to the early superhero TV shows of the 60s, but it's also a throwback to the early Bond films. Because, you know, he gets called to this remote tropical island. He's talking with the secretary chick about what the mission is. We don't really meet the main villain until halfway through the movie. And that's another thing this movie has going for it, is a great villain. It's Syndrome, voiced by Jason Lee. And what do I always say? The best villains have personal ties with the hero. Mr. Incredible did wrong by him back in the glory days, so now he wants revenge. Plain and simple. And he's a mastermind, you know, he got rich inventing weapons. He's got this complete, you know, remote island all to himself. It's James Bond. Even Skyfall did the exact same thing. Eventually, the rest of the family goes down there to the island in their new red suits, designed by Edna Mode, voiced by Brad Bird himself, which is hilarious because she was actually modeled after a real-life human being, Edith Head, who's an actual costume designer who won like a record 8 Oscars for her work in the 50s. Brad Bird was gonna get some other actress to voice her, but when she listened to Brad Bird's example playback, she was like, why do you need me? You already got it. I just think that's pretty funny. So The Incredibles has plenty of action, great dialogue, you love and relate with the characters, this family of superheroes, because it's really just an exaggeration of a normal average American family. And the adventure they go on together as a family is just genius. And don't even get me started on the score. Michael Giacchino's score is one of the first I've heard from him in my life, and it's one of Pixar's absolute best. Again, a complete throwback to early superhero TV shows and James Bond movies. It's all big band, you know, that awesome theme. Trumpets just wailing away. I love it. And on the DVD, there is a little short called Jack Jack Attack. Turns out the baby actually does have quite a few powers, actually. How are we gonna deal with that? Well, I guess we'll find out in the sequel coming out this summer. The Incredibles is one of my favorite Pixar movies. It's a classic. If you haven't seen this movie, oh my god, drop what you're doing and go watch it right now. Great characters, great writing, great action, great animation for its time anyway, great music. It is a classic. So The Incredibles, have you watched it recently? Where does it rank in your Pixar hierarchy? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.